One Piece is a very, very special series to me, basically ever since I started reading it in late 2020. And ever since I caught up to the series, I've really been wanting to talk about it. And now that I have a YouTube channel, I don't think there's a better place to do that than on here. So I had the extremely creative idea to rank all of the One Piece arcs in a tier list, giving my thoughts on each of them as we move along. But before we get into that, thank you for clicking on this video. Be sure to leave a like if you liked the video, and why not check out my channel and subscribe. I mostly make gaming videos like JRPGs and stuff, but with this One Piece video I do kinda wanna introduce a new side to my channel, but I'll talk about all of this a little bit more in the outro section. Because right now, let's just get to ranking these arcs, because there are a lot of them. Okay, so I have my tier list here, I have all of the arcs. Let's rank them, starting with Romance Dawn. Let's just put them down. Let's just put them at the bottom for now as we talk about it. I'll move it later because it's a lot better than Passable, that's for sure. Which was actually very surprising to me because a lot of people always said, well, Romance Dawn, the first arc, One Piece in general gets good after a few hundred episodes, after a few hundred chapters. And I just completely disagree with that. I have been thoroughly enjoying the entirety of One Piece basically since chapter 1. It has a lot of good moments, it's just a cool introduction to this world, it's a cool introduction to Luffy, like the manga starts with him stabbing himself in the face to prove himself. He's a pretty cool kid. I like the introduction of Shanks with the whole sea monster thing. I think that Romance Dawn was honestly just a pretty good introduction to everything. It's nothing standout, it's nothing great or incredible, but it's a solid base, it's enjoyable, it's a lot of good fun. And I can basically say the same about the next thing with Orange Town. I think that it's just a good, solid arc. Again, nothing too special, but it's good fun. I like the introduction of Zoro, I like when Nami gets introduced. I like that Nami isn't immediately best friends with him either. She has a character to her, and I did really like her from the beginning. And you have, of course, the whole Buggy thing. I never expected that Buggy could become that big of a character, which is something that I really like. Same with Romance Dawn. There's a lot in One Piece that gets added later on. Stuff gets expanded upon constantly, characters come back, and it always feels natural. They're always left off at a pretty good point, and when they come back, it's always fun, it's always enjoyable, and I really like it. So yeah, Orange Town, good. And then next up, Syrup Village, which I actually think is a bit better than Orange Town and Romance Dawn. I think that it has a lot more going on, like you have the whole twist with Kuro, you have Usopp, who's actually very interesting, I really liked him from the beginning, with his lies and all the story that he tells to the girl in his village. I can't remember her name right now, I feel kinda bad, but just him and his little pirate crew, they get to marry in this arc. I think that's a really, really good one. I don't know if I would call it great though. Maybe I'll set it at the top of good for now. Or maybe I'll make another tier. Boom, no tier. Let's put Syrup Village there, because I do think that it's better than Romance Dawn and Orange Town, but it's also not really great, so yeah, it fits in there pretty nicely. And this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, because I feel like a lot of people like Baratie a lot more than Syrup Village, but I kind of like them similarly. Maybe it's a bit better, because it does have the Mihawk stuff, and Sanji's backstory is really, really good. It's actually really cool looking back on it, how quickly Mihawk was introduced. You have the entire duel with Zoro. Really good. I really like Baratie, but I don't think it's great either. It's just a jump up from Romance Dawn, as you can see. At the top of very good. I also really like that this is where Nami betrays them or leaves for Arlong Park. I really like that the arcs flow into each other very naturally. That's something that One Piece does amazingly. Every arc just flows into each other really, really nicely, and I really like that in Baratie, Nami leaves them, something that's basically been building up ever since they met in Orange Town, because she was never fully a part of the crew. So then Arlong Park is the first great arc, in my opinion. It's an arc that just had so much going for it. I thought Arlong was a great villain. You have the entire backstory of Nami, you finally figure out why she's been acting the way that she has been acting. Also setting up a lot of future arcs already, with the Fishman being there, talking about Jinbei this early in the story again. really cool. The famous hat scene, the famous walk to Arlong Park, the duel between Luffy and Arlong in the map room, all of it really good. I really, really like Arlong Park. See if I have another note written for it. Yes, actually. There's this one speech that Luffy gives in Arlong Park, which is a moment that doesn't get talked about enough, and I really, really like it. It's basically the first moment that I, like, kind of stood still and I was like, damn, I fucking love this series. I fucking love Luffy and the gang. Fantastic. I really love it. As I said, it's the first great arc. And then next up we have Logue Town, which is a really cool arc. It's a shorter one. It's kind of like an epilogue to everything that happened before, while also setting up the next stuff, because this is of course before they enter the Grand Line. And I really like this arc. Every character kind of is reflecting on what's been happening, every character preparing for the journey up ahead. Like Zoro buying his cursed weapons, I thought that was really cool. I really liked how that plot point was introduced. Same thing with Smoker and Tagashi being introduced. Same thing with Dragon being introduced, with Luffy going to the execution stand and being saved. I actually think it's really awesome that Dragon showed up so early, but that it was a mystery for so long. Like, I don't think we know that that was Dragon until we reach, like, post Enies Lobby, maybe, if I remember correctly. So yeah. But I do think that it's very good. I feel like I would rank it in very good somewhere then. Like, not great, but very good. I don't know where though, maybe in between Baratie and Syrup Village. That feels about right. I might switch it up again a bit later, but for now, Logue Town, very good. And then next up we have Reverse Mountain, which is where they enter the Grand Line and they meet Laboon and all of that stuff. They meet Vivi as well, even though they don't know that she's Vivi yet. And this is a pretty good arc. I don't think it's on the same level as something like Baratie or Logue Town, just because not that much happens here. It's a pretty slow arc, but it does have some really cool moments. Like, I don't think it's bad or anything like that. Like, it's definitely not passable. It has a really sweet moment with Laboon. I think it also has the barrel scene in the very beginning of the arc, but that might be part of Logue Town. I don't know. I really like Reverse Mountain, but I think I would put it there. At the end of very good, between good and very good. Yeah, that seems about right. And then next up we have Whiskey Peak. And I don't like Whiskey Peak. It's not a long arc, not that much happens in it. So I guess it's fine. It's not like a bad arc or anything, I just don't really like it. The whole Luffy versus Zoro fight is really dumb. Like, there's no real reason for them to fight. It feels like, oh, that just wanted to have them fight. I don't know, like, of course, the Vivi stuff was cool, and setting up Alabasta was cool. But that's, like, the only good thing about the arc, in my opinion. Luffy is out of character, Zoro is a bit weird. It gave us a very funny dub clip, though.
It's good to see you, buddy. Doing it! Luffy!
And then next up we have Little Garden. And Little Garden is pretty alright. I would say that's good. In the middle of good, at the end of good, somewhere around there. Again, it's not that big of an arc. It's with the giants. I do like the giants. I like the whole duel that they have. I actually really like the concept of that as well. Kinda like they've been fighting for so long. They kind of forgot why they're fighting, but you're still fighting out of honor, and they're also just having fun with it. The characters have some pretty cool moments, like Sanji picking up this phone, Zoro doing his fucking I wanna die in a cool pose moment. I like Little Garden. It's fine. It's nothing special or anything. I think it's fine. Let's put it there. Next to Reverse Mountain. Thinking about it. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. I'll leave it like that. And then we have Drum Island. And Drum Island is very good. I really like Drum Island. I'm gonna place it there already, because I feel like it's right there. I feel like it looks nice there. Drum Island, the Chopper arc. I really like the backstory of Chopper and Dr. Hiriluk. His entire speech was really good, and the theme of "you will only die when people forget you" is something that is a very big part of One Piece in general as well. It applies to a lot of characters. It's just a very good line. It's a very emotional moment in the series. There are a lot of emotional moments in Drum Island, like Luffy holding up the flag, Chopper leaving his home and joining them, needing that final push of Luffy really just being like, Chopper, shut up, you're coming with us. Really, really good arc. Maybe it's even great. Not... Yeah, you know what? Drum Island is great. I really like Drum Island. I really enjoyed it. And then next up, we have Alabasta, the arc that's been built up all the way from Whiskey Peak to Little Garden to Drum Island. Finally we reach Alabasta, and Alabasta is really, really good. It's definitely at the top of great, maybe even an incredible. Because it's the first really, really big arc. There's a lot happening. We have a pretty big crew as well now, with Chopper joining them. Vivi is basically a Straw Hat at this point. Every character has their own fight, every character has their moment, every character shows what they're good at, and that's why I really, really like Alabasta. The characters are great, the plot is great, the villains are great. Up to this point in the series, Crocodile, definitely the best villain. Even today, he's one of my favorite villains. I just really like Crocodile. I like a lot of the Baroque Works members as well. It's not just him. There are a lot of good side characters as well, with the King and Robin being introduced. Robin, my favorite character, Robin. Like, I have a figure of her. Look at her. She's fucking beautiful. I love her so much. So yeah, she gets introduced here. Alabasta is great, honestly. The scene where they leave Alabasta as well, with the crosses on their arm, super iconic, great One Piece moment. I love Alabasta. Alabasta is fantastic. It's gonna go there in incredible, because that's what it is, it's incredible. And then after Alabasta, we have another smaller arc with Jaya, basically being the setup for Skypiea, but also for a lot of other things that I was surprised with how much stuff here was actually being set up for later. And this arc, when I think about it, at first I'm always like, Jaya is not that good. Like, maybe it would go like here somewhere. But the more that I think about Jaya, I'm actually like, it's surprisingly good. It has the Bellamy stuff, it introduces Blackbeard, it has Nolan to Liar, and it has the whole thing of our log post is pointing up. What do we even do with that? It introduces a concept of a sky island, which I thought was really interesting. So, I feel like it fits there and very good. Yeah, every time I think about it, I'm surprised with what actually happened in this arc and with how good it actually is. Which is then, of course, bringing us to Skypiea. Skypiea is a hard one, because there are a lot of things about Skypiea that I don't like basically the whole middle section with the trials of the gods and like that round ball guy and all of that stuff. Not the biggest fan of. It kind of dragged out as well. I don't know how to feel about that stuff, but the beginning of Skypiea is amazing. The ending of Skypiea is fantastic. Ringing the bell, the whole Eneru fight. It has the little thing with the guy with hammer fixing the Mary, that mystery being set up. There's a lot of cool things in Skypiea. It's also the first time we see Haki, I think, now that I think about it. So there's a lot of really good stuff in Skypiea, but there is a really big part of it that drags. I feel like it's kind of inconsistent until the backstory happens, and from then on it's great. But the first half and the middle point especially does kind of drag it down. I think I'm gonna put it here. I liked it more than all the smaller arcs that came before, but not to the point of Drum Island, Arlong Park, or Alabasta. So I think it sits fine right there. Okay, and now, next up, an arc that everyone would put impassable, an arc that a lot of people would probably even make an extra tier for that says bad. I would say that it's actually pretty good. Yeah, it does feel like a filler arc, not that much happens in it main story-wise, but it's just a bit of fun. You know, it's just a bit of fun. And what's wrong with a bit of fun, especially if we're talking about One Piece? So, definitely not one of the best arcs. I'm not saying that it's like fucking god tier, but it's also not bad. I honestly don't think that it's bad. In the anime it's bad though, I'll say that. Fucking, they added this arc, this has filler in it. Fucking Foxy's return, fucking burn it. Stupid. Fucking dumb. But, as it was in the manga, it was pretty enjoyable. I thought it was a bit of fun, and that's about it. And now next up, Water 7. And Water 7 is a special one. Because I genuinely think that when we reached Water 7, I was like, okay, One Piece is great. One Piece is amazing. I get the praise that I get all the praise that it gets. Maybe not from the people that are like, whoa, Oda is a god, it's the best thing ever made. I didn't get it. But Watcher 7 kinda made me get it though. I adore Watcher 7. It's a fantastic arc. It does so much. It has the entire Usopp arc with Usopp leaving them. It has the stuff with Tamari breaking. There's a really cool moment with Sanji as well, with him waiting for the train. You have Frankie's introduction and Frankie's backstory with the Watcher train. I think the concept of Watcher 7 is also really cool. I think Watcher 7 looks fucking beautiful as a city or as an island. I love Watcher 7. I genuinely don't think that I can say anything bad about Watcher 7. When I was reading this arc, I could not believe how good One Piece got. They pulled out in full force, and they were like, okay, you love all these characters, let's put them to the test, and let's bring them to Enies Lobby. Because that's, I guess, the only bad thing that I can say about Watcher 7 is that it's mostly just a setup arc, like it is its own arc with its own plot points with Iceberg and Frankie and the Mary and Usopp and everything, but all of those plot points are continued in Enies Lobby, which is why I also see them as one big arc most of the time. It has so many moments that I absolutely adore. It is a lot more action focused than Watcher 7 though, while Watcher 7 was more mystery and character building and everything like that. Enies Lobby was a lot of action, but it still had the character building and had Robin's backstory, which solidified her as one of my favorite characters in One Piece, if not one of my favorite characters of all time in anything. This is her arc, even though it's also Frankie's arc, even though it's also Usopp's arc, even though it's also partly Chopper's arc because he has his monster point. It's even Luffy's arc as well, kinda, because he has Gear 2 and Gear 3. It's everyone's arc. I fucking love Enies Lobby Watcher 7. There's not much I can say about it. God tier, I fucking love it. Incredible. And then we have the epilogue to those two arcs, Watcher 7 and Enies Lobby. And this is just another slower world-building-y arc. Probably my favorite one so far. Like, I think it's a lot better than Logue Town. There's just so much here. We see Ace again, we see Blackbeard again, we see Shanks again, we see Whitebeard, we see what everyone's been doing. Garp is there. We get talked about Dragon, finally, the mystery person from Logue Town. Post Enies Lobby is amazing. I'm not sure if the burning of the Mary is included in Post Enies Lobby or in Enies Lobby, but the burning of the Mary, man, still one of my most emotional moments. It's a boat. That's how you know One Piece is good. I was crying multiple times over a boat. I would say it's great. I think Post Enies Lobby is great. And then that brings us to the next big arc, which is Thriller Bark. Thriller Bark is fine. I think I would put it there. It's definitely a lower point again after Watcher 7, Alabasta, all of that stuff. But I don't think that it's bad. It has a lot of really good moments, like Brook's backstory, especially watching that animated. But in general, Thriller Bark is just fine. Like, I don't care about the villains that much. Gecko Moria, least favorite warlord. I just don't really care. There are some cool characters like Perona is pretty cool. Usopp's fight with Perona was pretty cool as well. So yeah, Thriller Bark is very good. I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's just good either, because it does have those highlights, especially with the ending, with Kuma showing up, the Zoro scene of nothing happened, around there. Let's put it there. And then we have Sabaody. After the previous big arc, as One Piece does, we have again a slower world-building-y arc, or at least that's what it starts off as, because the ending of Sabaody is insanity of the Straw Hats being split up. It was a really good arc. It introduces a lot of new elements as well with the supernovas, or the worst generation, depending on the translation that you read, I'm guessing. I thought it was all done really well. I've been told by friends that the supernovas or the worst generation wasn't supposed to be a thing in One Piece and that Oda only came up with it later. But I thought that it was done really, really well. They didn't feel out of place. Like, if nobody told me, I would have thought that they were planned all along, which is something that Oda is just really good at. He sets up a lot of things early, arcs flow into each other really well, so whenever there is something introduced that comes out of nowhere, he's also just really good at putting it in naturally. It just flows, it feels like it fits, it feels like it's supposed to be there. I would say it's great. Better than Post Enies Lobby. And then we move on to Amazon Lilly, an arc that I honestly don't have that much to say about. I thought it was very good. Not great, but very good. It introduces Boa Hancock, which is a really good character. I really like her. Especially because the way that she acts is often in like a comedic way. She has a lot of gags around her of how she's in love with Luffy, how she looks down on everyone, how she's constantly like, oh, I'm allowed to do this because I'm beautiful. But underneath all this is so much depth. They also introduce the execution of Ace here, setting a new goal for Luffy for the next few arcs, wanting to save him. The way that Boa Hancock helps him with that, the way that it's setting up the war at Marineford, it's just a good arc. Then we have Impel Down, which is actually incredible. I think it's incredible the way that they bring back older villains and don't make it you point at the screen and pog moment. They make it genuinely good for not only their character, but for Luffy's character. They have a purpose in the plot. It's like, yeah, One Piece doesn't kill off its villains often, which is a complaint that it gets a lot. But if they were killed off, you would not have an arc like Impel Down, where Crocodile comes back, Mr. 2, Mr. 3, Jinbei gets introduced, Ivankov gets introduced. The villains are fine, they're not the best, but they're also not the worst. I thought that they were pretty good. Impel Down, really good arc, very tense arc, going down in the prison to save Ace, only to be that minute second too late. So you have to escape the prison again. Buggy's whole thing of him building his fucking army was great, super entertaining. Really love this arc. And the best part of it is that it builds up to something even better. That it builds up to one of the best arcs in the series, Marineford. It's literally a war between the Whitebeard pirates and the Navy, the Marines, but it's done so well and they still make time for the character moments, like Ace, Whitebeard, Garp, Luffy, Crocodile even, Buggy even. All of these characters have a really big focus in this arc. Some characters like Ace or especially Whitebeard, you have gotten snippets of those characters throughout the other arcs, but this is where you finally see them shine. And because of that, the world also feels so alive. All of this stuff has been set up for so long, it's finally all going down. It feels like the finale to the first half of One Piece. Ace's death as well, just a really, really good moment, even if I personally didn't care that much about Ace, because he didn't have the most screen time, like don't get me wrong, I did care to a certain extent, but it was more just heartbreaking for what that did to Luffy, and seeing what it did to him in the next arc as well with post-war. Luffy being absolutely broken mentally, not knowing what to do with himself, and thinking back about his past and with Sabo. And originally, when I first read this arc, I really did not like it. I was kind of just annoyed that all of a sudden it felt super convenient of, oh look, Luffy had another brother all along. But while reading more of it, while thinking on it, while just letting the arc sink in for a bit, and the more that I thought about it, the more that I did end up liking it. Like, yeah, Oda is usually a lot better at introducing new elements into the plot, where Sabo did kind of feel like, oh yeah, look, there's another brother. But honestly, I kind of just got over it, I guess, also because I really like Sabo, and the more that I think about it, also the more that I like the way that it was implemented. Because if you think back to Romance Dawn, we did not know a lot about Luffy. We kinda just saw him stabbing himself in the eye, we saw a few interactions with Shanks, and we saw him leave for the seas. And post-war goes into that a lot more in depth, like, what was Luffy's relationship exactly with Ace? Where did Ace come from? Where did he come from? Luffy's promise, Luffy's dream also being introduced in this arc. One of the greatest mysteries of One Piece even. Like, yeah, Luffy wants to become the Pirate King, but what's his dream? We don't know. And I really like that. I really like that there's something about Luffy that we still don't know. But back to the main point, I just really like how everything was introduced here. And also, if you now go back to Romance Dawn, it's not like post-war feels out of place. It actually feels like it could fit in right there. And I think that that's really well done. Of course, I'm pretty sure that Oda did not think about this whole backstory before, but maybe he did, because it's all done really well. And it's just an arc that I've learned to appreciate as time goes on, so I would say that it's a great arc. But then we get to Return to Sabaody, and while it's fine, it's a fine arc, I don't like it that much, because, I don't know, I don't really like how the reunion was done. Like, the fake Straw Hats were fine, they were funny for maybe a few scenes. It could have been done a bit better, kind of 50-50 on it. I feel like it's around Jaya, Syrup Village, like there. Around there I'd put it. And then Fishman Island. And Fishman Island is an arc that most people would again put in passable or at the bottom of good maybe. But I actually don't mind Fishman Island. Of course it's not the best one. The Sanji jokes are not funny. They made me chuckle maybe like once or twice. In general it's a bit overdone, but it has a lot of cool moments. You can see everyone go full on, full power. Luffy using Haki for the first time. With his armament Haki, he uses the Red Hawk attack as well for the first time, while Fishman Island starts off okay-ish, passable-ish. I think it gets very good along the way, and it actually has some great and incredible moments, like that ending, all the lordoms of Joy Boy, all the stuff about Big Mom, all that setup. I think Fishman Island is pretty good. I think it gets overhated, like the backstory as well of Koala and Fisher Tiger and Jinbei, and all of that stuff that's been going on, very good. I do enjoy Fishman Island. I would put a... maybe there, actually, yeah. Like, lower half of very good, because, yeah, it has some moments that are not that good, but in general, it's pretty good. It's very good, actually. And then we move on to Punk Hazard. And Punk Hazard is a weird one, because there's a lot of stuff in this arc that I do really like. You have Kinemon and Momonosuke being introduced, all set up for Wano already, which is insane looking back at it again, how well One Piece is connecting all of these arcs. But at the same time, it's not that interesting. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that most of it takes place in the facility, which is not that interesting of a setting, but I don't know, it has some very good moments. But it also kind of drags around the middle part. I don't really know. I feel like it's around there. Yeah, that seems about right. But then, what Punk Hazard is basically a prequel to Dressrosa. And Dressrosa is honestly an incredible arc. A super long arc, but I don't think it has a single dull moment. From the second that they arrive on the island, to the whole Colosseum thing, figuring out what's up with all the toys on the island, seeing the super dark and depressed backstory of what happened there, to all the characters, just what Doflamingo did to this place. Doflamingo as well, one of the best One Piece villains, if not the best one, besides for maybe Blackbeard. Sabo coming back as well. Oh, of course, and Bellamy comes back. The whole Doflamingo family is really good. Law's backstory is incredible. The whole setup for Whole Cake Island as well. Like, this arc has so much going on. It has the Nolan Talir stuff coming back. It has the Tontatas. It has Grand Fleet of the Straw Hats, the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. There's a history of Dressrosa going on. It has so much going on. This arc is jam-packed, and still they did a lot of setup for Whole Cake Island with the whole Sanji thing. And how could I forget Gear 4 being introduced here as well? Like, it's been so long since Gear 3 in Enies Lobby. So yeah, Dressrosa is peak One Piece. I would understand people that say that's one of the best arcs, if not the best arc, but I think it sits just under the Water 7 saga for me. And after the incredible arc that is Dressrosa, peak One Piece basically continues with Zou being the best world-building arc so far, I would say. I feel like I say that every single time with one of these shorter world-building arcs, but the more we learn about this world, the more interesting it becomes, and it's kind of just one-upping itself with every reveal and every mystery that's being told. It's also just a great arc on its own with the Minks and Ganesha. Just their whole society is really interesting. The Raizo is safe moment as well. There's so much in Zou that's just really good, with the introduction of the new characters of all the Minks and Carrot joining them. I really like Carrot. I'm not a furry, but I really like Carrot. I wanted her to become a Straw Hat for a while, like a big part of the internet, but I'm fine with her not becoming one, as long as we see her again in the final arc. So yeah, so one of the best world-building arcs. It's great. And then we have Whole Cake Island, which again is fantastic. And this honestly might be my favorite arc of One Piece. There is something about Whole Cake that I really like, because I love basically everything that happens in this arc, similar to how I really loved the struggles between the Straw Hats in Water 7 with Usopp. Here we have something similar with Sanji, and all of that stuff is fantastic. The entire Sanji thing. Not just Luffy versus Sanji, but the whole Vinsmoke family stuff. This arc made me love Sanji so much, putting him basically in my top 3, if not my top 2 Straw Hats. But even besides for him, the other Straw Hats were also really good. Chopper going through the mirror dimension world with Carrot. Nami had some great moments as well. Jinbei being a fucking Chad, saying his mind to Big Mom. Luffy also uses Gear 4 Snake Man for the first time here, and that fight was just incredible. Also, besides for Katakuri, the villains here are just really good. Like, Big Mom is straight up terrifying. Her backstory was honestly just disturbing. Like, One Piece is not afraid to go to dark places, but I was really surprised with how dark they went through Big Mom's backstory. That was actually just fucked up. So yeah, One Piece continues to be peak, and it's honestly one of my favorite arcs. But looking at this now, maybe there's a bit too much in the God tier. No, okay, no. Looking at it, I was like, maybe I should put one down, like maybe Marineford should be an incredible, but I feel like putting any of these out of God tier arc would be doing a disservice to the arc, so I'm gonna leave it. Moving on to the last world building arc, Reverie. And this is actually an arc that's similar to Post-War, is an arc that I only started appreciating later on. Because when I read it at first, it was really good, but it was mostly just more mysteries being set up instead of questions being answered, which is kind of what I expected from this arc. But in the latest chapters now on Future Island, we are getting a lot more answers to those questions. We're actually finding out what happened during the Reverie, and the more we find out, the more I like this arc and the more I'm appreciating this arc. Like, of course, first read-through, it had a lot of cool moments like Emu, the big straw hat, all the characters like Vivi coming back, and Shigehoshi coming back, them meeting, all of that stuff, very cool, but it was a bit, we didn't know enough at the time, while now we know a lot more. So where I would put it around here in the beginning, I feel like the more we find out, the higher it will climb. I'm gonna put it below Zo and around here, I'll say, because I did really enjoy the arc. But then, the final arc of this tier list, and this video is going on a lot longer than I expected, but we're here now at the final arc, which is the land of Wano. And this arc has some moments that's actually just One Piece at its best. But at the same time, it also has some moments that are just great or very good, compared to all the other arcs in God's tier, which basically did not have a bad moment. But I think that it's understandable, because Wano is long. It's literally split up into 3 acts. It's like 3 arcs in one. But yeah, the good stuff is really fucking good. The backstory of Oden with Goldie Roger and Whitebeard, but also the whole raid on Onigashima, with Robin getting her fight, Sanji getting a fight, Zoro versus King, everything, every character had something to do. I think the whole raid on Onigashima is fantastic. Kid and Law taking down Big Mom was amazing. Gear 5, oh my god, the chapter of Gear 5 reveal is my favorite chapter in any manga that I have ever read. It had amazing action, it had amazing plot twists, stuff that was in a way already being set up since the beginning. Gear 5, in my opinion, is just incredible. My mind was fucking blown. But where Wano has those fantastic things, it also has some moments that are a bit less good. Kind of like Kinemon's conclusion, like I think Kinemon should have died. He had a lot of fake out deaths, and the last one was actually like, okay, it's for real, he's dead, but then he came back anyway. There's also this other fight that I didn't really care about, I'll have it on screen. And there's some other stuff in this arc like that I'm just like, I can't put this in God tier because I do have a lot of problems with it. Or like a lot, I do have some problems with it. But at the same time, it does have some of my favorite moments in the whole series. The conclusion as well, Momonosuke's conclusion, the scarabs, everything was so good. I love Wano, but I think it's just shy of being God tier. And that's it then. This tier list is not updated to have the future island arc. It's really good, but it's of course still ongoing, so I don't want to rank it just yet. But that was basically it. These are my One Piece arcs ranked. My top 3 is then of course Whole Cake Island, the Watcher 7 Saga, because I count them as one, fuck you, and Dressrosa, with Marineford just being shy of the top 3, but still being God tier. So yeah, that was my tier list video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I have no idea what happened to my camera in that last section of the video. I'm recording this a few days later, as you can probably see. I was just editing my video and I saw that my camera stopped recording near the end. But we're back now, and I didn't want to re-record that last section because I felt like it would kind of feel unnatural. I really liked what I had to say about the arcs as well, so I just left it like that. Plus I got a haircut, so it would be kind of weird if I just completely changed from one second to the next. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and there's one more thing that I want to address before ending this video off, which is what I talked about a little bit in the beginning of the video as well, being that this is a completely new thing for my channel, talking about anime and manga, but it is something that I've always wanted to do. It's even in the channel description. I don't know if anyone looks at those or if anyone knows that it was there, but it's there and it's been there since the very beginning. And what better way to introduce a new side to my channel than to talk about One Piece, a series that means so much to me, but also to a lot of other people. Plus, One Piece has been on my channel before in the form of a review on One Piece Odyssey, so it's not like One Piece completely comes out of nowhere. I thought it would kind of fit to make that the first anime manga video. Now, this doesn't mean that my channel is gonna turn into a purely anime and manga channel at all. Anime and manga is just something that I really love, just like I really love games. But most of my free time is spent on games, so that's also what most of my channel is gonna be about. Just don't be surprised if there's an anime or manga video every now and then. Plus, when I talk about games, it's mostly JRPGs anyway, or anime games like with this one. So I feel like it's not that big of a stretch for my channel to also talk about these things every now and then. But yeah, all that aside, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more like this, but also more about games and all of that stuff. As I said, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on One Piece or on my ranking of the arcs. And with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.